I'm Brady Knox, and this is my year in review. My biggest story this year was very personal for me because I was born and raised in Butler County, and that was the assassination attempt against now President-elect Donald Trump on July 13th. I got there early in the morning. It was an incredibly hot day. It was quite miserable. It was very crowded. Everyone was packed in like sardines. I was in the second row. And shortly after Trump arrived, about 6 minutes after, there were pops that sounded like firecrackers. And after the third shot, when Trump went down, that's when I realized that this was an assassination attempt, and it was very much real. My first thoughts, at first I thought that the now president-elect could have been killed. I immediately hit the ground. Everything was so packed that me and everyone else there were unable to move. After about 20 seconds, and I think it was 9 to 10 shots, I poked my head up to look around. Trump was still on the ground. That's when I pulled out my camera to begin filming. And shortly after, about 20 seconds or so after I started filming, is when Trump peeked his head up. And we all saw the blood running down his ear. We were all afraid that the injuries are much more serious. And then, of course, that is when Trump raised his fist, began pumping his fists in the air, which immediately electrified the crowd. Everyone went wild. Immediately, all the fears of everyone were dissipated, and Trump was whisked off stage by the Secret Service agents. The evacuation after that was very orderly. I interviewed about a dozen people who were all equally confused. In the immediate aftermath, either so many people were trying to use their cell phones that it crashed the system, or the Secret Service was purposefully garbling the TV towers so that everyone was essentially in the dark. So for about a 3-hour period, ironically enough, I was more in the dark than probably everyone else across the world. And I didn't know the full story of what happened until shortly after that. I, of course, returned to Butler, I believe it was 2 months later, for his grand return rally. And many of the same people were there. It was, of course, a much bigger rally. This was much better organized. And everyone there, it was somewhat of a somber occasion because of the death that happened, but also much a triumphant return of Trump. Yeah, and now my home county, previously unknown by even other Pennsylvanians, is now the most famous probably in the United States. Brady Knox, breaking news reporter with the Washington Examiner.